Hello everyone, my name is Jesus Nava. I'm in the Client Training and Education Department here at TradeStation, and it is a pleasure to be here with all of you in this series titled Learning TradeStation. We're going to be doing part 2 of the series. Let's talk about some of the things that we are going to discuss today. These are our class objectives. As I said earlier, the title is Order Entry Tools and Preferences. We're going to start off with placing orders in the order bar. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the matrix and how you can place OCO and OSO orders. We'll introduce to you chart trading, how to set up, disable, and turn on validations and confirmations, how to use activation rules for your orders, how to monitor P&L using the position graph bar, and then how to monitor your orders and positions in the Trade Manager. Some important disclosures. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about here today is for demonstration and educational purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation, and also that active trading is not suitable for everyone, and it should only be done with risk capital, especially when it comes to options which carry a high degree of risk. This is my TradeStation platform. I don't have any workspaces open. So at the top of TradeStation, you see the apps launcher, giving you access to every single trading app that you can open up in TradeStation. Just to have something on the screen, I'm going to open up a chart analysis window. So I'll click on chart analysis, and the chart pops up on the screen. It's a chart of Bank of America set to 5 minutes, as you can see on the top left corner. So I did say that I was going to start with the TradeStation order bar. On previous versions of TradeStation, the order bar was very visible at the top of the platform. Right now, the order bar is displayed as a rollout bar. So you have to go and take your cursor and put it on top of trade, and the order bar will roll out. Since I'm going to be talking about the order bar for a moment, I want to keep the order bar at the top, so I'm going to dock it. I talked about this yesterday, and I'll say it again, where you can click on this push pin on the left-hand side that allows this bar to be docked. On this new version of TradeStation, we've designed it as a rollout bar so that it doesn't occupy all that space at the top of TradeStation, but you do have the option to dock it if you want to keep it up there. The TradeStation order bar is divided in 4 different tabs: equities, options, futures, and Forex. And even though TradeStation as a broker does not offer brokerage services on Forex, we do have a simulated account for you to do some Forex trading. The Forex data is there, and it's real data, and you can test any trading ideas on Forex. The ones that are going to be linked to a live account are equities, which is tied in with options. So if you're trading options, that is going to be tied into your equities account. And then futures, if you're trading futures on TradeStation. Let's talk about equities a little moment. The order bar at the top is very self-explanatory and very intuitive, where you have to go through the different fields and enter the information about the instrument you want to trade. Since I have a chart of Bank of America open on my desktop, the order bar at the top is listening to any symbol that I click on my desktop. So you can see that Bank of America is already inside the symbol box up here. I can click inside the field to pretty much change the symbol if I want to do so. There's a symbol lookup, little magnifying glass next to it. And then there's the quantity. Take a look. The quantity can be specified on a number of shares, or it can also be expressed as a dollar amount. You also have boxes for the prices. The order type. Now, if you go to the order type drop-down, you can send limit orders, market orders, stop limit orders, and stop market orders. The next field over is a route. The route is for you to select the specific venue that's going to take care of your order. If you're not really sure what to select in here, I recommend you leave it on Intelligent, which is a technology on the order routing server that pretty much selects the route for you. Based on your order specifications, it'll try to choose the best route for you. So something that, as long as it says Intelligent, TradeStation will route that order for you. And the drop down for duration, this is important because this is what determines how long the order is going to be active for. It doesn't apply to market orders because you know that market orders go to the exchange and they get filled as soon as you submit that order. But when it comes to limit orders and stop orders, you have to tell TradeStation how long to keep that order out there. A day order is just for the current trading session. So if the order doesn't get filled in the current trading session, it's going to be canceled at the end of the trading session. If you want the order to remain active, you may have to choose something like a GTC, which is good till cancel, or GTD, which is good till date, and then specify the date on which you want that order canceled. And over here, the account number, you can have multiple brokerage accounts connected to your TradeStation platform. For example, you may have an individual account, then you may have a joint account and maybe a corporate account. And here in the drop-down of account number, you can choose which account you want to trade. Below that, you have the order action buttons. You have buy and sell, which take care of your long trades. And then you have sell, short, and buy the cover, which take care of your short trades. If you're a futures trader, it's going to be a little bit different. Let me go over here to futures. Now, some of the top fields are pretty much the same. But when it comes to buy and sell, you only have two buttons. Buy to go long and sell to go short. Of course, if you click on sell while having a long position, it'll exit your position. Now, if you go to the options tab, then you have different variations of buttons. You have buy to open and the sell to open. And then you have the closing buttons, which is sell to close and buy to close. Bank of America is right there inside the symbol box. And these buttons right below the order action buttons are real-time quotes on Bank of America. The middle button, that one that has an L, is the last traded price. And on either side, you have the bid and you have the ask. These buttons are convenient because without even looking at a chart, you know exactly what price Bank of America is trading at. Now, if I were to click on any of these buttons, the price that is shown in the button will be sent to my pricing boxes. So let's say that I click on the last, which is 32.29. I click it. You can see that 32.29 is populated at the top because I'm using a limit order. These buttons, you can look at them to see what the price of Bank of America is. But if you want to submit a market order, just come over here to order type, go to market, check the quantity. This is a 500 share trade. And if you click on buy, the order goes through. Now, one thing that I didn't enable on my account was confirmations. If you're doing this on a brand new installation of TradeStation, you should have gotten a confirmation letting you know what the order was going to be. But if you look over here, there's an information bar that tells you exactly what happened to the order that you submitted. I got filled on my simulated account and I bought 500 shares of Bank of America at market and I got filled at $32.29. So if you're not looking at any other windows in TradeStation, you're looking at the order bar. The order bar tells you what happened to your order. Jill, I see your question in the chat. He's asking if you're trading equities and you have a long position, can you sell short at the same time? TradeStation does not allow you to be long and short equities at the same time. So you're either long or short. Now let's go ahead and sell my Bank of America position. I have 500 shares of Bank of America. So I'm going to, again, this is my quantity. One thing that I didn't point out, and I think it's something very convenient, if you look over here next to the quantity, you have a P, which is for position. You know, sometimes you're trading different things and you're changing the symbol, and when it comes to closing a position, you may not remember how many shares you have. The P right here next to the quantity is the button that allows you to populate the quantity of the number of shares you own. So this P actually looks into your account, finds out how many shares of that symbol you own, and it'll populate the quantity for you. So let's say that I have 2,000 in here in the quantity box, right? And then I click on the P. It'll check to see how many shares of Bank of America I own, and it'll put that number right here inside quantity. Let's go ahead and test it. I'll click P, and you can see the quantity is adjusted to 500. And to close that position, I just click on the sell button right here on the order bar, and you can see that I got filled. I sold 500 shares of Bank of America. and I got filled at $32.27, making it a losing transaction because it went down 2 pennies. By the way, I think I said this yesterday, but if I look at the bottom of my TradeStation right here on the status bar, I see my open P&L. This is for positions that I currently have open. But notice here I have closed PL, which is $10 negative. Anything that is inside parentheses is a negative number. And so far, I've just traded Bank of America. So I can look at the bottom. I see how much money I've made or lost. In this case, I've lost $10. And Mark, I see your question about, does it require shares to be closed FIFO, that is in the order of the oldest first to last? I believe TradeStation by default uses FIFO, so first in, first out for any trade that you place in your account. One thing that you can do, and maybe not everyone here is aware of that, you can go to the website in the Client Center, and there is a link when you go to your account that allows you to change the way that your trades are closed, the method in which they're closed. So go there when you get a chance. It's called the Gain Loss tool, and you can change this methodology. I'm going to go over here to the order bar and put in some limit orders. Let's say that Bank of America, I see that it's trading at $32.29. So over here, if I click on the button, it sends the order up, the price up here, so I can say I want to buy it at $32.25. If that's the case, I just click on the buy button, and you can see that the order has been received. I have 500 shares to buy of Bank of America at $32.25. One thing that comes live when you have an open order is this cancel button. I'm not sure if you noticed, but before we placed in our trade, that button was grayed out, but now it's yellow. So I can click on this yellow button, and it gives me different options to modify or cancel that order that I have active. If I hover over here, this option that says cancel my buy 500 Bank of America, it'll cancel the order outright. But if I come over here to the top option, I can cancel, replace the order. And if I come over here, I can replace it with a market order. Or I can come here and change the price and say, I want to change my price to, instead of $32.35, which is the price that I selected, I believe, I want to choose, actually it was 25. I want to choose, maybe want to buy at 32.20. When I click here, it actually replaces the order with the new price. So you do have a lot of functionality right here on the order bar, and I can, show you different examples on how you can trade this. But let's go ahead and cancel that order from the cancel button. Click on cancel. I cancel the order, and you can see that the order bar tells you you are out on your simulated account on that buy order. Let's go ahead and take a look at other assets. If I go to my futures tab and I type in a futures symbol, let's do ESH18. Once you enter the symbol and you hit enter, you see the same quoting buttons right here. All right, let's do a limit order, but this time we're going to short the S&P E-mini. Again, I can click on any of these buttons. Let's see that I click on the asking price, and then I improve my entry price by a few ticks. Let's say that we want to get filled at $28.25. It's a limit order, and I click on sell short. Here, I haven't turned off confirmation, so you can take a look at what a confirmation window looks like. This is I'm shorting the S&P E-mini at $28.25, and then I say yes, and then you can see the orders received. So the functionality is the same across different asset classes. You have your limit orders, you have your stop orders. Let's say, for example, that we get filled on the S&P E-mini. So let me go over here to the cancel replace. I'm going to replace this order with a market order. All right, I'm going to say yes. I get filled. So I'm short one contract of the S&P E-mini. Let's suppose that I want to submit a stop loss on that open position. Very simply, I can just come over here, change the order type to a stop market, put in the price, $28.23, and let's say that if it goes up to $28.30, I want to get stopped. So that way, I put in my stop price and I say, I want to buy it back at $28.30 at a loss because I'm short. So I'm going to say buy. This is my buy transaction. and I say yes. And you can see how the order is received right here. We see the information bar at the top. So I think the order bar, when I trade, I like to use other order entry tools in TradeStation such as the matrix or even chart trading because they offer you a different view and they offer you additional information that you probably do not see right here on the order bar. So for now, I'm just going to disable my order bar. I'm going to auto hide it. So I'm just going to click right here on the push pin so that it goes away. And let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the matrix. Let me move my chart to the right hand side. And I'm going to go to apps and open up the matrix, which is a very interesting window where to place your trades. Let me just move it so that it's filling up more space. All right. I'm going to make the font a little bit bigger because I feel like the numbers are a little small. So I'm going to go to Settings, Window, and I'm going to change the font to maybe a 10 and make it a bold. I'm going to set that as a default. Okay, I guess that's a little bit easier on the eyes. Steve, your question about can you enter a stop loss in addition to a stop market? Remember that a stop market is literally a stop loss. So it's pretty much a stop that you put in place to protect your open positions. All right, here on the matrix window is one of the best places where to enter your trades because you get a full view of what's happening to the market. At the top left, we have Bank of America. If you want to change the symbol, I think I showed you this yesterday. You just type the symbol in and hit enter and it changes the symbol for the matrix. But the matrix is very useful because you see what's happening to the market. Right now we see the current trading price is 32.26. We see that the highest price traded for Bank of America is 32.41. So that's what's represented by that horizontal line at the top. That's the high of today. And if I scroll down, I'm going to see a similar line, which is the low of today, 31.96. If you take a look at the little tick over here on the left-hand side, that is the opening price of today. So I know that Bank of America opened up at $32. Right now, it's trading at 32.26. The price that you see labeled with a small letter V, it's a calculation called the VWAP. It's an acronym. VWAP, and it stands for the volume weighted average price. So not only the average price traded today, but it's weighted with volume. Right here on the right, you see actual traded volume. So if you want to know which price has been traded the most, we can look at the volume bars and see that this is the price that was traded the most, $32.35. We have about 3 million shares traded at that price. In addition to seeing, what has been traded and what not, you also see the interest in Bank of America from other traders. These numbers that you see inside the blue and inside the red are number of shares that are waiting to get filled. So I can use that information as a market sentiment indicator where I can determine where the biggest pressure is. Is it on the buying side or the selling side? And you can see which prices are being offered on either side. But what makes the matrix also a very useful window to place your orders is that by taking my cursor and putting it on the blue, the matrix assumes that I'm going to buy. I haven't clicked, I'm just hovering, I'm just moving my mouse over the blue, and you can see that towards the left hand side of the blue, it says buy 500 limit. So it assumes that I'm getting ready to put in a buy order. As opposed to if I take my cursor and I put it on the red, take a look on the left, it says short 500 stop. So this window has some technology that depending on where your cursor is, it'll know if you want to buy or sell, and it'll know if you want a limit or a stop. Take a look at the top right and the order type. It's set to auto limit stop. And I want you to pay attention to something really interesting here. If I want to buy at a lower price, this is the current trading price right here, 32.24. So if I put my cursor below the current trading price, take a look at the left. It says buy 500 limit. But if I push my cursor and I move it above the current market, you can see that the order command is buy 500 stop market. So I can buy at a higher price and the matrix knows that in order for me to buy at a higher price, I need to send a stop and not a limit order. So by having this auto limit stop on the top right corner of the matrix knows where your cursor is in relationship to the current trading price, and it'll switch your order from limit to stop accordingly. Let's play some trades. We have some market orders, buy market and short market. So if you don't want to specifically click on a price, you can use these buttons on the right to pretty much submit your order. Okay, so let's say that I want to do 1,000 shares. I'm going to go here to the quantity, do 1,000, and I want to buy at market. I'm just going to click here, the blue button, buy market, and I get filled. I hear a confirmation, so I have an audible confirmation that says order filled. I see a horizontal line telling me where I got filled at, so my price or entry price is $32.25. And I see a P&L column right here on the left-hand side. Very convenient. I can see the status of my position, where it is, where it's going, and how much money is it making me or losing. Okay, so quick things that I wanted to point out here in the matrix. A quick stop. Let's say that, and these are just example, hypothetical. Let's say that the most I want to lose in my Bank of America position is $100. I can quickly put my cursor on top of the negative 100. Let me just open this order column so you can see more. Okay, so I can put my cursor on the negative 100. Take a look, it says sell 1,000 stop market. So by clicking on a dollar amount, in this case I'm clicking on a negative $100, I'm submitting a stop. Quick way to submit a stop by just clicking on the negative amount. Now, how do you cancel an order? Very easy. You take your cursor, put it on top of this red box, which is my pending order, and you can see that I haven't even clicked, and it says right there inside the red, it says cancel order. So I know that if I click it, the order will be canceled and it'll go away. My confirmations are disabled, so that's why I'm not getting confirmations when I click. And this is technically a one-click order entry tool, which I think is very efficient. If you want to set a target, you can do the same thing on a dollar value here. So if I want to do a target of $150 so that if it reaches that level, it takes me out, I can just click on here and then I can submit an order right there. That's my target right there sitting at this price, $32.40. Orders in the matrix can also be clicked and dragged to do a cancel replace. Very simple. I can take this order and drag it to a different location if I want to increase my target, or if I want to reduce the target, I can just click and drag that order. So let me go ahead and leave this here. I'm going to change the symbol. So let's go ahead and trade. In this case, let's go to Twitter, TWTR. What's the current price of Twitter? I see it right there, 26.67. I see the interest on the buy side, the interest on the sell side, and I see the actual number of shares traded. Let's go ahead and take a look at some more advanced order entries, which are OCOs and OSO orders. This is a very interesting material, and I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy it. The number that you see right here, I see a question, what is the number next to the price? The number here is the actual trade size of the last reported trade. So this is, as it changes, you can see the last size of the trade that was reported by the exchange. The number in parentheses just means that different market makers are joining in that grouping. So it's not just one order, it's just 4 different or 5 different market makers have joined in that group and are submitting their information in that group. Let's go ahead and talk about an OCO. Let's say that you're looking at the market. Let me link these 2 windows together. We talked about window linking yesterday. I'm just going to link them so that they're the exact same symbol. So this is Twitter right here. I'm going to open up my chart. All right, this is Twitter on the right-hand side. I can see that the price over here matches the price of my matrix over here, so I can see what's happening on the market. Let's say that Twitter has been trading sideways. Okay, you want to place a trade so that if it breaks support on the downside, you want to take a short trade. But if it breaks resistance on the top side, you want to take a long trade. Here's some entry trades, and I'm going to show you just one example. So I'm going to go to the drop down, and here we have an entry breakout. This is the type of trade that pretty much will set up two different orders. One at the top, if it breaks resistance, and it'll take you long, and one at the bottom. So if it breaks support, it'll take you short. That's what a breakout is. And this comes in very handy when you're not sure where the breakout's going to happen. If you know the breakout's going to happen on one specific side, you would know exactly what type of trade to enter. But this is pretty much bracketing the current trading price above and below, and whichever one gets hit first, that's the position that you enter. To place that entry breakout, or you click on this button that says Place OCO Order. I'm just going to show you what it looks like. When I click it, take a look. I have two orders on my matrix. The blue one is my long order, and the red one is my short order. But they're connected. Since you place them with an OCO, OCO stands for Order Cancels Order. So if one gets hit, the other one gets canceled. If the breakout happens on the upside, you're long. If the breakout happens on the short side, or the bottom side, you are short. Just one example. I do want to encourage you to come here to this drop down and look at the other examples that are here, because they may, fit a particular trade that you're trying to enter. Okay, let's go ahead and cancel these orders. I'm just going to click on this Cancel All button to remove this from my matrix. And I'm going to show you one other thing. Let's say, for example, that I am in a position. So I'm going to put in a market order right here. So I'm going to buy at market. My position's in place. Let's say that I want to bracket my position in two different scenarios. If it goes up and it makes money, I want my position to be closed and capture that profit. And if it goes down and it starts going against me, I want to also exit and then protect me from losing more. You do that with the OCO as well. So if I have a position open, I'm going to change the duration to GTC, because if my target or my stop is not hit today, I want it to remain active until tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow, where the day after tomorrow is Saturday, so it would be Monday. GTC they're going to be active until you manually cancel those orders. So by doing that, I can come here, instead of doing an entry, I can do an exit bracket with one limit and one stop. This is the way that you bracket your position with two different possible scenarios. If it goes up and makes money, if it goes down and loses money. You have the ability to click on the ellipses right here on the right-hand side. Let me just click here to show you. And you can see the two orders that are going to be sent, a limit and a stop. And you can also see the price offset. So the price offset right now is 10 cents. So your target is going to be 10 cents above, and your stop is going to be 10 cents below. I'm not going to change the defaults, but you can come here and say, well, I want my target to be a little bit higher, and you can just increase it right there. And if those are the numbers that you use most of the time, you can check this box that says set as default, and every time you put in this order, it'll be the exact same way. So I'm just going to click OK to this, and in order to bracket your position, just click the gray button, Place OCO Order, and there it is. Now you can see the two boxes on the right, on the left, are red because they're selling transactions. If it goes up, I sell. But if it goes down and I start losing money, it sells also. The 10-cent offset is calculated off the last traded price. But if you want to move your order, let's say that I want to move my order to break even right here. You see I'm making some $60 and I want to move my stop to break even. I just drag it up. Right here is my entry price, and I've just dropped my stop right here at break even. So you can do that manually, clicking and dragging. And if you want to maybe move your target to $200, just click and drag it, and you can do that right here on the matrix by clicking and dragging. Let's leave this trade right here. One other thing that I wanted to show you is right here on the chart. You can also see your order lines. We're going to talk about chart trading in a little moment and show you how you can place trades directly on the chart. But one of the things that are turned on by default in charting is the ability for you to see what your orders look like. So it shows you information about your entry. Let me open this up a little bit. Okay, so your entry is right here. We're net 1,000. It's hard to see because there's other information behind it. And it shows you the P&L right on the line. And it has that line right there showing you where your target is at the moment. Oh, by the way, this is on top of each other because that's also showing you where your stop is. We moved our stop to the break-even point. Let's go ahead and continue. If you want to do the whole setup in one, let me switch this to a futures. I'm going to switch this to ESH 18. On ESH 18, I already have some orders. So I'm just going to close my position. This is something that I want to emphasize. The close button that you see here, it's a convenient way to close your position that you hold on the symbol that is displayed on the matrix. Right now, the matrix shows me the S&P 500. So if I were to click on the close button right here on the matrix, it'll send a market order to close whatever I have in there. Whatever it is, if it's one contract, two contracts, the close is a quick way to send a market order. By the way, I'm not going to do it here, but reverse, for those that are curious about what it does, it takes your position and reverses it. So right now I have a short position on the S&P E-mini. So if I click on reverse, it'll take me long. Instead of having a short trade, it'll close whatever I have and it'll take me short. Let's go ahead and click on close here. I wanted to close that trade. You can see that it clears out my matrix. I've closed it out. In this example, we're going to trade two contracts of the S&P E-mini. If it goes up a couple points, I want to exit one and leave the other one running for more profit, maybe a couple points higher than that. But on the downside, I want that stop to trail so that if my position goes in my favor and I start making money, I want the stop to be moved in my favor as well. So let's go ahead and put in that trade. First of all, I'm going to put a check here where it says attach OSO, is the ability for you to send multiple orders at once. So what is it that I'm attaching? By the way, OSO stands for order sends order. I am attaching whatever is in this drop-down, which is an exit bracket with one limit and one stop. Now, I did say that I wanted two targets. So I'm going to go over here to one of these brackets that it's a two limit, one stop, which means that I have two targets and I have one stop. So I'm going to click on the ellipsis here, and the ellipsis will break up our setup into two different rows because we have two targets. Our first target is right here at 10 minimum movement, and our second target is right here at 20. Now you can adjust that. These are minimum movements. For those that are futures traders, you know that the S&P E-mini moves in quarters of a point, and that's exactly what that means. It's 20 quarters of a point. You can see how the stops are exactly at 10 points. If I want my stop to be trailing, this is what you do. Highlight your stop, click on the ellipsis or the three dots over here on the right-hand side, put a check on trailing stop, and I want my trailing stop to trail by, we're going to say, 3 points. I click OK, and you can see that now it shows that information over here. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other one. The stop right here, I'm going to click on the ellipsis, put a check on trailing stop, and I want it to trail by 3 points. Click OK, and that's the information that I see right here. Once I click OK, I've already formatted my bracket, and it's just a matter of putting it in the matrix. So let's say that I want to get filled at 28.22 even. I'm going to come over here, click right here inside the blue, and I have my order in place. The blue one is my active order. Remember that the ones that you see in blue and red are the ones that are active, currently working for you. My other orders that are kind of a darker color, those are still pending because they are attached to my primary. You can see it better right here on the chart as well, where you have, this is my entry order, I want to get filled at 28.22, and I have my two targets, one at 28.2450 and the other at 28.27. You see them here on the matrix as well. So two targets, one stop over here with a trail. You can see the trail amount right there. If I move my primary let's say that I move it down 1 point, it's going to shift the whole setup down because they're all connected. So let me move it up again. I'm going to move it up 2 points, shifts the whole thing. Let's say that I change my mind and I say, well, I want my second target to be a little bit higher. I put it right here. You can see that that can be adjusted manually as well. Let's go ahead and fill this order. I'm just going to bring it up here to the inside ask, and I get filled right there. Now I have my active orders in place. Okay. Let's talk about chart trading. So let's go ahead and change the symbol here. I'm going to go over here to, let's say, applied materials. So I'm just going to change the symbol. In order for you to trade from a chart, you have to turn on something called chart trading. So at the top of the chart, there's a button that allows you to turn it on. It's the one that I'm hovering on right now, or hovering over. So if I click it, it'll open up a similar trade bar to the one that you see in the matrix. You got your market buttons, you got your attach OSO, you got your OCO functionality. Now, one of the things that you have to remember on chart trading is that you have to use a combination of mouse and keyboard. Let me show you. By the way, when you first launch chart trading, it launches a little window letting you know what you need to click on in order to place a trade. So it's control left click to buy, control left click, buy limit. So let's take a look. I'm going to demonstrate it so it's easier for you to understand what's going on. If I want to buy, I know that I have to hold the control key on the keyboard. So if I click down here at 53.34 and I click, that's my order to buy 500 shares. It's 500 because I didn't adjust it up here. It says 500. But that's an order to buy at 53.34 limit. To cancel an order is very simple. I just click on it. And you see those white boxes on that line? It just means that the line has been selected. So if I press delete on the keyboard, the order goes away. Of course, you can also click on these yellow buttons on the right that says cancel all or cancel active. So let me repeat that again. Hold down the control key and click anywhere on the chart. Let's say that you're not really sure where to click. If you click and hold, you can bring down your mouse to the price that you want your order to be at. You know what? Right now I'm at 53.33, 53.34. Let's say that I want 53.35. If I want my order to be there, that's where I release my mouse button. And that's where the order goes. Okay, so sometimes you'll need to click and drag so that you can be a little bit more precise as to the price that you want for your order. If you want to replace that order, let's say that that wasn't really the price that you wanted. You wanted 53.34. I can click on the line and I can drag it down to 53.34. So clicking and dragging is also possible right here on chart trading. So let me go ahead and click on the yellow button to cancel all. If I hold down the control key and I click above the current market, let's say 53.44, that'll be a buy order at a higher price, which is a buy stop. But the functionality is the same. I can click and drag the line, move it anywhere I want. I can press delete on the keyboard to remove it. And the setups that we did right here on the matrix by clicking attach OSO and place OCO can also be done here. So let's say that I do an OSO with an attached bracket. You have the ellipsis allowing you to format that trade. But by clicking here on the chart, I hold down the control key, click on the chart. Not only you get your entry order, but also you get the stop and the target attached to it. And the same concept applies. I can move these orders around. I can shift the primary up a little bit, and it shifts the whole setup. Okay, I can press delete on the primary and removes the whole setup. And if I want to short, if you want to sell short applied materials, instead of holding the control key, hold down the alt key. The alt key on the keyboard, you hold it, and then you press on the chart, and that gives you a short entry order. And the nice thing about, all the order entry tools in TradeStation is that they're all interconnected. So notice that this order that I entered here is displayed on the matrix. And if I click and drag the order on the matrix and I move it, that is also going to adjust the entry right here on the chart. It doesn't matter where you enter the trade, you can access and manage your trades from anywhere in TradeStation. Let's talk a little bit about validations and confirms. I did say that I disabled confirmations. That you can do. I'm not sure if you noticed, but on the confirmation window, there's a checkbox that you have to check so that it turns off the confirmations. But let's say you want to bring back the confirmation. You notice that when I click on this equities AMAT, let me cancel this trade. I'm going to cancel this order. And if I click here, it doesn't confirm. It just puts in the trade. If I want to turn confirmations on, let me show you the menu way. So that way you always remember what to do. Go to the File menu, Preferences, and there's an option here for Order Entry. File, Preferences, Order Entry. And this applies to every window or every order entry in TradeStation. It's divided in asset classes, equities, options, and futures. So for equities, I have a section for validations and confirms. Come here and take a look, because validations are great because in case you make an error, it'll catch you. So if the price is more than 15% from last, if the order is more than 2,000 shares, if it's going to cost you more than $50,000, these are validations. And if TradeStation does the calculation and it goes over any of these thresholds, it's going to warn you. Are you sure you want to do this? And sometimes that is a way of protecting you from making an error. Now, the validations you can turn off if you want. Sometimes if you trade large quantities, having this warning come up every single time can be annoying. So you can come here, disable the validation, or you can just bump up the numbers here and make it larger. So that way it won't warn you as many times as you trade. And at the bottom here is the confirmations. If I turn on the confirmations for the matrix, look at all the other order entry tools that are here. You have chart trading, market depth, quick trade bar, option station pro. But if I turn on for the matrix and I click OK, now when I click on the blue here to put in a trade, I get my confirmation window saying you want to buy 100 shares of AMAT. All right? I'm going to disable confirmations. And if I were to put in a trade that is large, like 1,000 shares of AMAT, I'm going to click on buy market. This is the validation right here. It says total position is more than $50,000 at 53,410. You want to continue. And I say yes, and then the order goes through. So validations and confirms, that's where you enable and disable them. Let's talk a little bit about activation rules. In your trading, you're going to come across the ability to put in a trade with an activation rule. So let me show you. I'm going to come over here to my trade bar, and I'm going to click on Advanced. Okay, the symbol that I'm going to trade is Facebook. Facebook is trading at $193. If Facebook goes to 200, I want to buy 100 shares. So I'm going to take the 100 shares. This will be a stop market order. Actually, let's just do a market order. Limit order. Let's do a limit order of, I want to pay exactly $200. All right, that's going to be my limit price. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an activation rule. Right here on the right-hand side, there's a checkbox for activation. And I'm going to click on the ellipsis right here. I'm going to tell my order to do the following. If the price of Facebook, when I add it right here, is trading at $200 or more, greater than or equal to $200, then I want to activate my order. So I'm just going to click OK here, come back to my trade order bar. I've set my activation rule, and I'm just going to click on Buy. And that's the order that has been received. Buy 100 shares of Facebook at $200 only if Facebook moves up to 200. So activation rules are great. There's two activation rules that you can set. You can do an activation rule based on price, or you can do an activation rule based on time. Sometimes, the time activations are great because you can submit an order that only gets activated towards the end of the day or at a certain time. Comes in very handy when you have a position open, but you don't want to leave that position open overnight, you can send an order to close your position a few minutes before the market close, and that way you are sure that the order or your position will be closed. One of the things about sending orders with activation rules is that these orders will sit on the TradeStation server, so you don't have to monitor these orders at all times. Let's talk a little bit about the position graph bar. The position graph bar is up here on the top of TradeStation. If you hover over position graph bar, it will show you any open position you have. Let me go ahead and dock it by clicking on the push pin right here, so it'll remain at the top of TradeStation. That's the way that I like having the position graph bar, because it doesn't matter which window or which symbol you're looking at. Like for example, here I'm looking at AMAT, but I can just look at any of the positions that I have open and see how they're doing. If you look at my Fox position, which is the one that has the most green, it's because it's making the most money, about $12,000. But if you look at, for example, my futures positions right here, it's making only about $50. The nice thing about having the position graph bar at the top is that you also can tell if something needs attention. There's something, you look at a P&L and you see, hey, I better get out of that position. You can do it from within the position graph bar. Let me show you. Let's suppose that my AMAT position is giving me trouble. I can just right-click on this little box of AMAT, and I say, close this AMAT position, send now at market intelligent. I do that, and you can see that my AMAT position went away. It cleared out my matrix, and it cleared out my chart analysis. So you can control and monitor and manage your positions from within the position graph bar. Some other information that's here, for example, you can see where the position has been. For example, if you look at the S&P E-mini, inside the box you see the real-time P&L. So right now it's making $100. But on either side, you see how far down and how far up the position has been. So at one point it was losing 275, and at one point it was making 175. But right now it's just making 75. If you like to edit the information that is displayed, I recommend you right-click anywhere inside the gray space and go to Settings. You have some check boxes that you can check here, or you can go to the Customize Position Graph Bar option, and you can change the way that your positions are displayed. The quotes that are at the top of the position graph bar, these are the symbols that show up here. Or the way that the tooltips show. The tooltips is whenever you hover over one of these graphs, it's the information that is displayed. I see your question, Andy. Andy's asking, can you sell an option based on the stock price? Yes, you may. You can use activation rules on options. I didn't get a lot into options in this class because we have a 60-minute scheduled class on OptionStation Pro. So if you trade options and you'd like to learn activation rules on options, join me in that class, which is upcoming. I believe it's next week or the following. So check the calendar if you'd like to register for that class. And one last thing that I want to show you in this order entry tool is the Trade Manager. Let me open up a new workspace down here. I'm just going to click on the plus, and I'm going to click on the Trade Manager right here. Do not confuse it with the Trade Manager Analysis. They are different apps. Click on Trade Manager. The Trade Manager has all the orders and all the positions that you've entered today. Let me go ahead and make this bigger. When you open up the Trade Manager, it'll default to the Orders tab, but you can see that at the bottom, you have multiple tabs that you can go through. The Orders tab gives you a chronological sequence of all the orders that we've placed in this 60-minute class. Here, they're going to be color-coded. So at a glance, I can see what's working, what is not. The blue ones, you can see that they're filled. You can see the order status. It's filled, filled. The yellow are you are out. And the ones that are gray are received. So these are my working orders. This is just for today. If you wanted to do a historical request, over here at the top right, you can do a retrieve orders from a specific account. Whenever you're trading, it's always a good idea to have the Trade Manager open somewhere so you can come and see, oh, I have active orders for the S&P E-mini, I have active orders for Facebook, and you can see what's working, what's not. If I look at my Facebook position, you can see that this is the one that I have with an activation rule. You can see the activation rule waiting for Facebook to be trading at or above 200. If I right-click on this gray area, I can cancel replace that order with a different limit price or a different quantity. So I submitted it with 100. Let's say that I want to change the quantity to 500. I just click on the 500. I say yes, and you can see how the quantity is updated to 500. From the Trade Manager, you can also right-click and you can cancel not only this specific order, but you can also cancel all the orders that are working in your account. So you have quick access to closing all positions and closing or canceling all different orders. Let's go ahead and take a look at other tabs here. Take a look at positions. If you go over to the positions tab, it's going to give you a list of everything you own in your account. Okay, I have 500 shares of Walmart. Here's a spread that I traded in TradeStation Pro. I can see the two legs. I have 500 shares of AT&T, 1,000 shares of Fox. I have two contracts of the S&P E-mini, and also tells you what the position is, if you're long or short. The nice thing about this is that it also gives you a total open P&L. If I want to close any of these, let's say that I want to close I'm going to close my futures position. I can right-click on ESH18. I can say closes ESH18 position, and I can do a market order to close that trade. So not only a Trade Manager provides you information about the status of your positions or the status of your orders, you can use the right-click menu to also manage your orders and positions, which is very handy, especially when you have a lot of things going on your TradeStation. Okay, so to recap, we talked about placing trades from the order bar. So you can use the order bar if that's something that is comfortable to you. So I like the matrix because it's a little bit more efficient. A lot of the things are already set for you, and you just have to click on the blue column to buy or the red column to sell. We also looked at chart trading, the use of validations and confirms. If you go to the File menu, Preferences, and Order Entry, it'll take you to a place where you can set a lot of the defaults, where you can turn on or disable validations and confirms. We talked about activation rules. We looked at them from the trade bar right here under Advanced. And remember, the Trade Manager, keep it open somewhere. You know, have a workspace open with your Trade Manager. Sometimes I like to also keep it small. So if I open up my Trade Manager, I just keep it small right at the bottom of my TradeStation and have windows open at the top. But at the bottom, you also see the most recent orders submitted in your account. A lot of information we covered today. Thank you everyone for your time. I appreciate, you all being here. Hopefully you got some great information from this class. Thank you everyone for your time, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye everyone.